It's the moment we've all been waiting for, everybody. Today, I'm going to start building upward. I'm going to be inserting the raised platforms throughout the entire center of the Lego city. Now, in order to do that, I need some lumber. But not that lumber. I've actually got to go hit up the second Bricksie lumber yard, which is located in my garage. This is the wood that I need. It's 3/4 inch, making it super rigid, and it also matches up better with the Lego math. I'm going to load all that into my vehicle because we're probably going to need all that. And while I'm doing this, I may as well take the time to clean up the rest of my garage because it's about to get really cold out and I wouldn't mind parking in here again. I still have all my track shelving components as well, such as the uprights that you attach to the wall, all the shelf brackets, and then all the shelves, which I actually plan on reusing to create the subway system around the perimeter of the tables. So eventually I got to bring all this shelving over to the studio as well. Yeah, mission accomplished. I'm going to be parking in the garage in no time. So that's amazing. I loaded my vehicle full of the 3/4 inch melamine so we can start to install those platforms when I go to the studio tomorrow. I also condensed my wood pile. No sense in hauling it all over right now, just because I don't need all of this stuff right now. I'm not going to be installing the subway tomorrow, so I don't need to haul all the shelving over there. So for now, it's just going to take up this little spot in my garage, right beside the filing cabinet, which I still need to bring over there as well. Once I bring the filing cabinet and all this wood over there, that's going to clear out a big chunk in my garage, which I'm pretty excited about. I can almost consider this project to be done. But not until I take care of this. I gotta go to the bottle depot, get some cashola for those. Gotta mow the lawn one last time, then stow my lawnmower away. And then I've also gotta hang my bike at the kids' bike trailer for the season. Once I do that, the garage is gonna be open for the taking. I know this is all a little bit off topic, but hey, it's all part of the process of adding platforms to the city. I got everything unloaded this morning and I did some measuring. So from the edge of this raised platform with Ninjago on it, to the end of the table is a total of 24 base plates. It's a pretty big span. 24 base plates long. I laid out all my big sheets here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and they all have a 5 base plate width, and those are gonna run throughout the entire center of the city, and I need to cut more legs. I wanna put 6 legs per panel, just because that's going to offer a lot of support rather than 4 legs. I think it needs to go 2, 2, 2. And then the 3/4 inch stuff is thick enough that it won't bow or warp, which is good. However, I only have 19 base plates worth, so I can't span 24 base plates with the 3/4 inch stuff. So I'd have to go buy some more if I want to do that. I'm not going to do that because I have so much unused melamine. It would just feel like such a ridiculous thing to do to go replace this 5/8 stuff with 3/4 inch stuff. So I'm definitely just going to use this. So my plan is to actually build the center wood platform all the way throughout the center, but then end it right there. Because what I can do is transition into maybe a different height or the 5/8 stuff as we turn this corner and go toward the Winter Village. Maybe I want to raise it up there. Maybe this stuff is higher up, or maybe I don't want to be as aggressive. Maybe I want to lower it. So for now, I'm just going to build multiple of the platforms, like the one that's currently supporting Ninjago, and they're going to span throughout the center of the Lego city. The first thing I did was create a cardboard jig. It's just a square. This is how I mark my screw holes, just marking them with a pen first, and then I go around with my drill and I make countersink holes just so those screw heads go right into the wood so they don't disrupt the base plates which are going to sit on top. Now that I've got my screw holes marked and countersunk and ready to go, it's time to attach the legs. So I set up my table, I grab all my legs, and what I do is I actually punch my screws all the way through and then I draw them back out. The reason I do that is because when you come through the other side of the melamine, there's actually this white flake or chip out, and I want to get that out of the way. And the reason I do that is because I don't want the melamine chip out to be sandwiched between the leg and the wood platform. And then after that, it's just really easy. Just install all the legs the exact same way, and before you know it, I've got all the platforms ready to go. I make sure to vacuum while I'm doing that, just because I don't want sawdust to be on these things, and I don't want sawdust to be all over the floor as well. There's my stack of raised platforms. Now I didn't cut enough legs, I'm too short, to put 6 on the smaller one, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use this. But, well, I had the saw out there. I may as well have cut 2 more legs, is what it is. Wouldn't take long. But it is actually pretty strong, even without the legs in the center, because this stuff is so thick. Yeah, we got 6 legs on each one. And yeah, I know, some of them are 2x4s, some of them are 2x2. It is what it is. They're going to be underneath Lego. These platforms are pretty heavy. Hauling them to the table is pretty funny. Just lifting them up, putting them on, sliding them in place. Sounded like a whale when the wood was rubbing on the wood. You can envision it. There you go. Now, I didn't make these the exact dimension of a base plate. I actually made them a little bit small because I'm not too worried if a Mills plate hangs over a little bit. I'd rather have these platforms too small than the exact size or too big, just because I have a little bit of grace in the middle there. So the base plates, once I actually get them built and inserted, they'll actually hang over a little bit. I still have to go through and actually level out a bunch of my tables as well. I do have the metal connectors. So what I've got to do eventually is go under the table, press all the wood together, throw some shims in, and then screw some of the metal connectors and then connect all my tabletops. But I actually just do that on a case-by-case basis, depending on where I'm working. Even just that, I think, makes the city look so much bigger. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. Just because I think, like, when it was at the standard table height, it was hard to visualize how big that space was. But now that it's at the raised platform height, you can really just see, like, how substantial that is and how far the mountains are away from, like, this edge of the table. Like, look at the distance from the edge of the table to the A-frame, train track, where the foot of the other mountain is going to be, and then where the raised platform, which is 5 base plates wide, is. And just look at how tiny those cabins look. Oh my gosh. So some people have mentioned that. How are you going to reach up there? It's a very good question. How am I going to reach up there when I build these massive mountains on that raised platform? The access points that I created in the city, there's 6 of them. I'm standing in one of them. It's 3.5 by 3.5 base plates, or 35 by 35 inches. So it is quite large, way bigger than the existing ones from my previous Lego City layout. So that's good. I can fit little ladders in here. I can also fit large ladders in here. And also my tables are strong enough to stand on, so I can literally stand on these, no problem. So that's pretty much how I'm going to access these hard to reach places. And even when I am not standing on the tables, when I'm just standing on my miniature ladder, not the big one, I can reach pretty far. I can almost reach the other side, and then of course I've got more access points on the other side as well. However, the center areas will be hard to reach because this right here is 7 base plates across, so reaching over there, quite difficult. But I'm going to build everything on Mills plates, and for the most part, I'm probably going to build them on 4x4 Mills plates. And what I'm most likely going to do for this section, which is going to be 5 base plates wide, is build 2 2x2 base plates, so 4 base plate modules, one on this side, one on the other side, and then I'll have a 2 base plate module in the center, and this will be the peak of the mountain, and these of course will all be modular, so they can all be removed. Odds are I'm probably going to put another narrow platform in the center, or I'll just Lego build it all. I haven't quite decided, but these are all going to be giant mountain modules that will be able to be removed, and if I need to work on one in the center, I can remove the modules here and stand on the table, or I can remove these modules, slide them over, extract them, work on them, place them back. Real quickly before I start placing base plates, I just want to talk about something. No, it's not going to be like all the same mountain. I was talking about putting like a raised platform in the center on the 2 base plate module, but no, it's not going to be just the same consistent mountain going up. I do want to have some parts that are, you know, high over here and low over there, high over here, low over there, high over, just sort of random. And also there will be peaks and valleys throughout the entire mountain range. It's something that I've really wanted to do for quite some time, is build like a giant mountain range. That was sort of my vision when I first got this place. I thought, okay, maybe what we can do is put a giant mountain range in the middle, And then when you get down and you have this POV perspective throughout the entire city, no matter where you're at, you've got this really cool backdrop for all the different scenes found throughout the entire city, whether it be the countryside, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, the train yard, the ocean, like the harbor, the beach, the downtown core, the residential, the amusement park, all that. That was sort of my goal. And I think that's really gonna help bring this to life when we have this really cool mountain backdrop in behind these buildings, because we'll see this, but then you'll see some more height coming behind it. And I think it'll just add like a whole new dimension to this, like the city and the storytelling and just like the excitement of it all. And it'll also help divide the downtown core from the countryside. So that my goal is just to build these giant mountains. Now you'll see here, I actually turned this one sideways. This actually worked out for the better, I think, because my platform coverings, they stop right there. And then when we enter into the amusement park, there's no platform coverings. That's because I want to slowly build this up. So this actually gives us some space right here to build custom foots of the mountains that we can actually integrate these rides into. And I think that will be like spectacular. Even if I brick build a little bit of it, platform build a little bit of it just over top of this train track. So if I just get some more wood and then I make the legs shorter, so it's like a step up, and then I can put the roller coaster on that step up and the train can pass underneath it, and then brick build all the stuff in front of that, blending it in. That would be probably ideal, just because it's going to be easier to construct a tunnel for the train. But I think this really works out. I do have to build some more platforms right here on the very end, and then the one stretching this way toward the Winter Village. I have to give that some thought, because once again, I don't know if I want to go taller here. I don't know if I want to go a little bit shorter, or I don't know how deep I want to go. Maybe it's going to be more than 5 base plates. Maybe it's going to come out to like here so that we have more space for that Winter Village. Eventually all these base plates are going to have to be reinforced. Like I'm going to have to mills plate them all, but it is what it is. I'm just going to throw them out there. I do put blue by the Ninjago area because I'm going to frame that whole area with blue, and then I just put green everywhere else. But eventually they're all going to be mills plated and they're all going to have big mountains on top. And just other various landscapes, whatever it may be, peaks and valleys and mountains and structures and all that stuff. But I just want to get them covered just because I'm tired of looking at the white tabletops. I want it to be all studs. I think I figured it out. I found this small piece of wood right here, and that matches the thickness of the other platforms. All I have to do is cut 2 more legs for this platform, and while I'm doing that, I can cut 4 legs for this one here and install that so it goes on the end. But I've got to cut this down to 32 inches, I think it was. And then there's a pretty big span right here for the right angle that I want to install, and this is going to be a good home for the Winter Village. And I've got this big sheet over here. It's a full length. It's 97 inches, so around 10 base plates long, and it's 40 inches wide, so 4 base plates wide. And I'm going to cut some legs for that as well. I think I'm going to make these ones a little bit taller, maybe like 2 or 3 bricks taller than the other ones. So this will be a little bit higher, and this is where I'm going to put the Winter Village all along here. And then there will be a ski slope at the top of the Winter Village somewhere, and that ski slope will come down here. And maybe there'll be a taller peak somewhere in there as well. This is a lot of space to allocate to a winter scene. I think that might work. Maybe I should sleep on it. Maybe I need to make these legs, you know, like 10 bricks taller. Maybe this thing needs to be way up here. And the only way you see it is if you hop up on a step ladder and you see the Winter Village way up there. That could be it, because maybe the Winter Village needs to be up at the top of the mountain, and then the ski slope comes down from there. Or maybe the Winter Village buildings need to be scattered around the base of the mountain as you go toward the top, like a snowy road or something. There's lots to think about, but I don't think it would hurt to create some sort of wood structure. And then, of course, I can always modify the design of the Winter Village, or come up with a design and build multiple wood structures and other structures using Lego as well. But I just feel like I should get the rest of the raised platforms inserted, and then I can actually start to arrange these buildings so they actually look like a winter village rather than just a cluster of buildings that don't really make any sense. Lots to think about there, that's for sure. What's it going to look like? How am I going to place all those buildings among this winter village? How am I going to integrate a ski slope and a village and a mountain and a raised platform? And how tall should it be? Definitely lots to think about. Exciting times. So, I have decided to go big. Now the big question is how am I going to get this on the table on my own? Here's the extension of this. So I cut that down to 32 inches, installed the legs, cut all the legs. That's awesome. Now I've got this big boy over here, which is 8 feet long, and I've got the big legs on the bottom. I actually had these all from the table cutoffs, and they're all the same length. And I was okay, well, why not just use those for now, rather than cutting like specific size ones, use the taller ones. They're just over double the height of these. And if I have to adjust them in the future, then I can do that. But let's visualize what it's going to look like with a taller winter village, like a higher elevation in the winter area, which I think makes sense because that's where all the snow is going to be at. How am I going to get that on there? I guess we're going to find out. You know, maybe I'm just stronger than I look. I can haul that lumber. There we go. Pop it up on the table. Beauty. Next thing, I've just got to install the 2 last legs. I couldn't access them up against the door there, and I thought it would be easier to maneuver with 2 less legs on there. Then I'm going to reconnect the train track. It matches up perfectly with the leg width, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm also going to level it off with the platform that sits beside it. And then I want to move all of these winter village buildings up on the platform just because why not get them up there? Start to visualize what our winter village might look like. Believe me, this isn't the finished product. Can't stress that enough. Very tall indeed, but I think I like it. I think it's something different. Is it aggressive? Yes, it is. It's very aggressive. Like the winter village platform is super tall. Well, like I said, I just had those like pre-cut, so I decided to use them. And you know what? I don't mind the concept of having a super elevated winter village. I think that makes sense. We can still see the buildings, like standing on my feet. They're pretty much like right at eye level, to tell you the truth. Like I can see them perfectly. So I think it actually makes sense in that regard. And then what we can do is I've left open 15 inches there, which is a 48 by 48 stud base plate. So you can build up here. This can be like a super steep ski slope, sort of like Lego house steep ski slope. That might be pretty cool. And also I plan to build up from here as well. So the buildings aren't going to be in like this fixed position. I plan on adding terrain and different elevation on this platform and of course on all of the other platforms like I've been mentioning. And then I have to blend in the elevation as well. And there could be another platform here, maybe at that height in front. And then all of this throughout here will all be elevated at different levels, different heights as well, like this. And you can see that my gravel road cutout actually ends right there. That's because the gravel road is going to start going up and at an angle toward that way, toward the other tunnel entrance, which you can see right there. It lined up perfectly with the wood. I did not measure that. It just lined up, and so did the trains. So I was really happy about that. Somehow the math just magically worked out. Like, what? I didn't even plan that. And same with this one here. Okay, it magically worked out that the legs are not in the way. That is awesome. Normally when I build platforms, I put them in and then I'm like, oh no, I need to move 4 more legs to get them out of the way of the train or the road or whatever it may be, but that's not the case this time. Granted, I did need to extend that one out a bit. I did have it like going closer originally, like tighter to the raised platform coverings, but it doesn't matter that it goes through the center. Like that's all good between all the legs. I don't want to have the legs start like deep in. I want to make sure it's fully supported to the exterior there as well. And like I was mentioning on the time lapse there, in one of them, I have to go around and affix all this stuff to make sure they're perfectly flush. But once you get the mills plates on there and once you get the weight on there, it doesn't really matter. And the mills plates are going to hang over a little bit. So having them perfectly flush doesn't really matter that much. But for instance, right over there, like what is going on right here? Like that is just brutal. So I just need to like shim this one up and then put one of my metal connectors under here, put like some shims in, and then screw them all together with these things that I've got a lot of buried within my wood pile and the short screws. And then over here, I think there's a big jump up as well. You can see this one here. I'll probably have to pop a screw in this one and just force it down. Just put a screw right into the table frame and it'll force it down. Same with that one, put a screw into it. So as I work on these areas, like when I start developing this mountain, I come in there and I fix all that. I don't want to go around and do it all at once just because things might change. So I like having these things just loosey-goosey because I can just move them around and fix all that contingent on when I'm working on that area. I'm sorry if I'm talking a lot in this vlog. This is like super exciting to me. We finally have the elevation in here and I've missed like so many things. I haven't talked about so many ideas that have been going through my mind over the last while. For instance, once we get all this mills plated and it's all flush here, the trails and the rivers and the waterfalls and the mountains and the Ninjago area and the snow and like there's so many things that I can do now. And I don't want to make a video about me talking about all the different plans and ideas that I have, because I could literally make like a 2-hour video going through all of those different things. Like it would be ridiculous. I'm sorry if I got a little bit talkative in this one here, but it's just the nature that now that we have this installed, there's just so many different things that I can do. And I can start working on this Ninjago area now. I can get the water around there. I'm going to lay base plates all underneath and build up all the water so it matches the height of Ninjago. There's so many different things that I'm going to be doing here. I'm just so excited now. This is so cool. Like, look at the height elevation difference there from the Winter Village to this platform. There can be like a ski slope coming down there, whatever it may be. It's just going to be absolutely epic. I'm sure you've heard me say it before. I'm what I call a visual person. I like to work on a lot of things all at once just so I can start to visualize the end picture. Things like covering up that white table space with base plates and mills plates, inserting the raised platforms, truly help me just like feel good about what I'm doing in this place. And every time I come into work and I see that white table space or no elevation, I'm just like, oh man, that's driving me crazy. I want to get that going, even though I'm working on the zoo and even though I'm working on the downtown core amusement park, mountains, train yard, countryside, gravel road, the medieval area. I just wanted to get those inserted and I wanted to mills plate the amusement park and mills plate the countryside, because now I can sort of chip away slowly but surely at all these different projects and just take the Lego City one day at a time. And those platforms with the base plates on top truly just transform it. It just is already looking so much better. And I am really happy about that. Unfortunately, I don't have any more base plates. So I'm gonna have to go get some more. I mean, I have probably, I don't know, 10 or 15. So I can start to like maybe work on plating off the Winter Village area with some white base plates and some mills material that I have in white as well. So we can start working on that and hopefully have enough pieces to start mills plating all those green base plates in the center there so we can start working on developing the mountain project and all that. But I just wanted to get that done. Like, I feel like the last 3 Lego City updates, mills plating the countryside, mills plating the amusement park, and now inserting the raised platforms, just make me feel so much better about this place. And it's just sort of all gonna start coming together now, which is awesome. Yeah, just wanted to share my experience with you. I hope you enjoyed this process of me adding all these raised platforms to the city. Oh, it's so cool. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. Farewell.